Welcome back, YouTube. Welcome back. Let's not start the stream off with Cap. Let's give it at least 10 minutes. Welcome back. Welcome back. We are firmly in midweek reversal territory. I just want to remind everybody about where we are in the weekly cycle.
What's going, Dbloc?
What's going on, brother?
Hanging by a string.
Mm.
It's a frayed one.
I'll be right back. Let me grab this coffee out of the microwave.
Strengths could be pretty strong these days. Got yourself one of those Kevlar strengths, could hang out for a while.
Need all the help I can get, brother.
You in a Bitcoin position?
Yeah, I'm just sniping along here. Just up to, let's see, where do I got that take profit at?
Yo, Nvidia's in price discovery right now. It's an all-time high.
Oh, really? Yeah, I'm at 108,312. I've got my take profit at on Bitcoin. 108,312. What about you?
I am all in USDC, baby.
Let's take a look at this macro real quick on Bitcoin just to catch up. Weekly chart. We had our break. We had our week. We had our daily that closed under. We had our move down into the vector gap. We've now got a weekly bullish engulfing on Bitcoin right off of the 13. You go to the daily, this shit looks crazy. You go to the daily, we got a stopping volume candle right off the bottom of the 50 EMA cloud and almost a full recovery. Well, full recovery from the dip, but what we want is we need to start taking out these lower highs. And if we can start taking out these lower highs, then we can start changing structure. But as far as where we are, remember that red line that we had across to regain bullish momentum? We're there. We closed over today, and we put some of the spookiness behind us. Not that we can't dip, but remember what I was saying. We want to be able to go up high enough to where we can retrace and not break this weekly high close. This is the most important thing. We broke that support on the weekly, right? Our support from right here. And now we've got to prove that we meant it, which means we've got to close back over. I couldn't have written this shit any better myself, I'll be completely honest with you. Beautiful recovery. Absolutely beautiful. But bears are going to have a little bit of fun here, guys, before we can keep going. Question is when and where.
Yo, Bears ate so much already.
Yeah, but the Bulls did this. Can't really blame the Bears. Look at how hard the Bulls went.
Yeah, and Bears only been eating scraps. I mean, they haven't had like a macro dinner yet.
Bro, this
The thing is, the Bears, I think they don't eat off of Bitcoin. They eat off of altcoins. The true Bears.
I mean, true Bears will eat anything in front of
them. I'm not concerned about the Bears that are shorting Pepe. I'm concerned about the Bears that are shorting Bitcoin.
I think those Bears about to get slaughtered.
I don't know. Watch out. They've been feisty lately. Heard it through the grapevine that the hash rate's kind of dropping, and some miners aren't too happy about a few things. Might be pulling back a little bit of that hash rate. Keep your eye on it.
All we need is to break the 50 for a retrace. We don't need the miners to revolt. This is already set up for a good retracement.
Yeah, but a little bit of sprinkle a little FUD on top. You never know.
I'm smelling a bullish crypto headline about to hit the spot at close.
No news is good news, man. Right now, no news at all keeps us in the up direction.
I'm sensing a little like NATO is adopting Bitcoin and creating a reserve for defense spend.
Has Zeusy been on today? I was watching a streamer earlier in France. He was at the Eiffel Tower and a tornado just came out of nowhere.
Damn.
Yeah, everybody was running, everybody was freaking out.
Yeah, there's been some wild weather lately. A lot of volcanoes erupting, earthquakes. And
Dude, it's hot. It's hot across the entire world. Rick was showing like a global map, and there's like, unless you're in Antarctica, you're pretty much in heat.
I know
dude, and Lake
Miami's been
Tahoe was
dirty.
like the end of the world. Lake Tahoe had a crazy storm. Boats were everywhere.
Give Greta some credit, huh?
Right? Let me yeah, I'll check that out. Yeah, just give me a second.
Somebody asked, Peter asked if I'm still in Doge. I'm still in Doge in spirit, but not right now. All my love is in USDC right now. I'm trying to help Dbloc circle position, giving a little extra support, holding that USDC, you know?
Yes, sir. Things dropping nicely, actually. Bring this valuation down to earth, where there's still something left in to make a little bit of money.
Trump is going off on this Mom Danny guy that got elected in New York, calling him 100% communist lunatic. Just said
Trump is giving me the signs of uncertainty. I'm feeling some instability in the markets coming soon. But yeah, I'm
you see
biased.
this mayor that got elected in New York.
Yeah.
Beat Cuomo.
Yeah.
Oh.
That dude used to come to my parties. What are you talking about? He used to come to my Dub Day Monday parties, yo. Union
That's
Square.
crazy. I don't know too much about him.
Yeah, he used to throw these parties back in the day on Mondays. He'd pop up. Hey, what's up, y'all? And one boy had to smack him around a little bit because he was acting up. Sorry, they got some cards on him.
I am seeing a little bit of a head and shoulders on Stewie on the 1 minute.
I'm seeing this new pattern across the board. It's called a head and shoulder turn into boulder. And the boulder just keeps on rolling down and down the hill.
Turns into a straight up boulder.
Sometimes you get that snowball effect. You roll the snowball down the hill, and it just becomes bigger and bigger, a giant ball. But I feel is going to happen in Bitcoin pretty soon. It's going to roll down the hill and keep on collecting buys and buys and buys. People are going to keep on desaying while it goes all the way down to $47,000. Let's go.
Bitcoin to 0.ETH.
There you go. Let's go.
Yo, what up, Drew? Hope you're having a good day.
Thanks, man. Likewise. I'm just over here plotting, looking for FUD, reading about the miners and why they're unhappy and what's going on. Looking for any other kind of FUD out there. I'm sure there's a lot. FUD gives me that hopium when I'm not in position, you know?
Everything you need is in the chart. All the hopium for a drop that you need is staring at you right on chart.
Yeah, but what about those accelerants?
That's good to hear, Ahmad. 24 hours, no sirens. That's got to be good for the nerves, man. Yeah, I already fed into Sui. I like the way Sui BTC looks.
Yeah, Pete, I'll be back in Doge soon. Just not trusting things right now. Things smell a little fishy. Not because of Doge, just because of this grand scheme of things, what's going on with everything else. I also have a hunch that Trump's just being patient to fill up that big bag he's trying to fill up. He might know that he might know he's getting some better prices coming up soon.
He can fill it up on Sunday.
Why didn't he take it at
98?
97? I thought the whole point was to drop it down to the 90 so they could fill up.
That's what I'm saying. I think he was the one that front ran that 97 area, and he front ran it at 98.
Like, why would you have $12 billion okay to buy, have it hit 97, and then wait to 107 to dump it to get good prices? I mean, don't get me wrong. I know plenty of people that did that. I know plenty of real people that actually did that, but I would hope that somebody with a team and that amount of money, somebody, you know, the siren would have went off somewhere. Like, time to slap the trade, you know, time to slap the button.
They didn't. Yeah, they didn't do it yet, and they just did like a $500 million buyback in his own company. Like he just reinvested, or so was it 50 million or 500 million? It was either 50 or 500 million.
You heard that
And
speech that Michael Saylor did with the corporations about buying back their own company? Bro, he had a conference call with all the corporations that wanted it, you know, actually wanted to get into the Bitcoin standard thing. He told, because what you really do is you take your earnings and you buy back your stock, right? And you push up your stock. Like, that's what most companies do. He said, stop buying your company. Your company sucks. If your company didn't suck, you wouldn't be on this call with me trying to figure out what to do to make it better. So
wait, but is he talking about MicroStrategy?
He's talking about all MicroStrategy sells their stocks to buy Bitcoin. These companies are making these companies are using the revenue that they get from their stock shares to rebuy their stocks. And what he's saying is, like, if your company can't get you, he's like, it's time to like have a come to Jesus moment. If your company can't make you 65% year over year risk adjusted return, then you're throwing money into the toilet.
Was he talking to like you said a specific company though? He was
He's talking to a bunch of them. He had a meeting. It's like when he has these meetings to sort of sell the whole Bitcoin standard idea or whatever, right? Or to help companies through it once they start, implementing. But he's right. If people just sell their shares and use the money to buy Bitcoin, keep Bitcoin on the asset sheet, the increased value of the asset sheet will bring up the stock price, and you don't have to keep buying your own stock. But apparently, yeah, they did. They bought a bunch of Liberty back. It's commonly done.
You're supposed to use some of that money for crypto though. That's what they were saying, or I don't know. I think it's being patient though to scoop up. They're
The
supposed to
market
do not
closed in
just.
1 minute.
Uh-oh.
Spot's getting a green candle up. Video's getting a green candle up.
I just think it's funny as hell to think of Michael Saylor sitting there telling these corporations that their company isn't shit compared to Bitcoin. Just imagine you're a CEO sitting there listening to that.
I mean, now you got to take it in the chin, but something happens to Bitcoin, might not work out for Mike.
They'll be talking again. During the bear market,
That's
they'll
gotta
be
be
talking
like
again.
that's gotta be like CEO midlife crisis kind of ego hit right there. Because the worst part of it is that he's right, right? So they'll be mad and they gotta do and sit and do their calculations and realize that he's right. You know what I mean? It's like, what was the point? Point of all the years of education and hard work and work and elevation to a point to become a CEO of a company to have Michael Saylor tell you you ain't nothing and be right.
Still
I
putting you
wonder
in
if
the
there's
right
like
side of this lower high fractal.
I wonder if there's like a tracker for like CEOs of major companies buying Ferraris right now.
They like to do yachts. Ferraris, that's just toys. Yachts are toys too.
Yeah, you're right. You're definitely not wrong. Well, maybe CEOs of major buying a yacht that's like 70 feet longer than last year's yacht.
Yeah, they're scaling up.
Everybody is, bro. The streamer that I watch bought a Lambo for his set. Not to drive, bought a Lambo to sit in the room that he streams in behind him so that when he streams, there's a Lambo behind him. Freaking decoration. Too much money out there, guys. This whole scarcity mindset that we have, really got to get rid of it, bro. Because there's an abundance of money floating around out there.
Yeah, pretty soon you can do that without having the Lambo. If you got the computer good enough and just get that pixel right, and you can generate those images and make people think you got a Lambo in the room.
Yeah, until the guy with the actual Lambo walks to the back of his room and sits in it. It's always a flex until somebody pops up with the real thing.
So someone pops up with a helicopter, and then someone pops up with a jet plane. Someone pops up with.
I like
It's like those Chrysler 300s look like Bentleys until a Bentley pulls up next to you.
Right. Yeah. Talking about helicopter, my buddy is in Bitcoin. He ended up buying a helicopter like 2-3 years ago.
There's a trader who his mindset was basically he was like, buy the cheapest car you can. That's gonna get you from point A to point B. And his whole reasoning was that like, yeah, you feel real big and tough with the with a Aston Martin until the guy next to you pulls up with a Lambo, and then all of that goes out the window. So he was like, when I pull up next to you with my $1,200 beater car, and I'm making more money than you every day, you know, that's the real flex, right?
I don't know about that. Because the thing is, the point of money is to enjoy it. And there's so many people making so much money, and they're like, oh, you know, once I get to like 2-3 billion, I'll start spending or whatever. You know, it's like, man, have fun while you're alive. You know, don't wait till you're like 16, 17. You're gonna be that dude
The
driving
real
around in a
flex is
Corvette.
time. The real flex
Yeah,
is
telling
time.
you,
You
that's
know you've made it when you're in control of every minute in those 24 hours. Where you control what
yep.
you want to do, when you want to do it, when you want to get up, when you want to go to sleep. You're in 1000% control of the 24 hours in your day. That's freedom. Some people get to that point with a smaller dollar amount, right? Some people get to a large dollar amount and lock themselves in a golden prison where they don't have control over any minute of their day, right? Because they're on that chase. Some people get to a point where they got a house, kids, steady job, you know, get there a lot sooner. It just depends on the type of lifestyle you want to live.
I'm on that, but I feel like I work for my girlfriend a little bit. It's like, no.
It's like Elon. Like Elon's, you know, richest man on paper or whatever, give or take, on and off. He doesn't have 1000% control of his day. There's shit he's got to do at a certain time, which is cool, but he's still working, right? You're working. You know, retirement and wealth means having 1000% control of what you want to do when you want to do it.
Yeah, you know, my motto has been the last 15 years. This isn't the big vacation.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like, you know, a good vacation is a better investment than a Lambo, though, because you know the Lambo you got to put expensive gas in it. I mean that flex is great for as long as people are still buying Lambos, but when people are buying, you know, rocket ships and stuff, what was the point of the Lambo, right?
But not just a vacation. I'm saying turn your life into a vacation. Like your life should be the big vacation, you know?
Well, that should be your mindset, anyways, right?
Slick said, I'm
Always be
happier with
enjoying.
3 kids who consume my time than I would be with the freedom to do whatever I want. Yeah, but be honest with yourself, Slick. You want to spend time with the kids, right? So you are doing what you want. Doesn't mean that it's easy, but you would probably prefer to spend time with your kids than anything else. So you're still doing what you want. The opposite of that would be having to work and not being able to spend time with the kids. Right? You're grinding 12-hour days. You're seeing the kids for maybe 1 or 2 hours a night.
I have a buddy that's works 60, 80 hours a week. He's missed all of his family stuff for the last 25 years, basically. And still, even though he's got millions in the bank, is just putting it in there. He's not even gonna know what to do with it when he retires. He's just too stingy to even spending.
He's on the flywheel, bro. You get stuck on that flywheel sometimes, bro. It's like a hamster. And you're just running, you know? It sucks.
Good afternoon, fellas.
What's going on?
I told
Yeah, I
him,
felt like I was getting on that for a little bit. That's why I had to get that motorcycle. I was like, yeah, I got to switch it up because wintertime, you know,
I
skiing
jump
had me
on from
going.
time to time. There's nothing wrong with locking in, right? Like, honestly, where we want to get, you really can't get to without locking in and cutting out some of the shit around you from time to time. But yeah, you got to know when to jump off that wheel.
I told my buddy to invest in Bitcoin. I might as well have been trying to sell him Amway.
Yeah, I know the feeling. It looks like an M formation, guys, but please wait for confirmation. Look, Let me. For everybody looking at this M right now, remember this one? That was definitely coming down. Remember this one? That was definitely coming down. How about this one? That was definitely coming down, right? But this one's definitely going to come down now, though, right? Can't keep doing the same thing expecting a different reaction, guys. You got to switch it up. Wait for confirmation.
Fourth time's the charm.
Right? Yeah, I agree, Darren. That's what weekends are for. Weekends are for unplugging.
Quick question, Block.
Mhm.
So when you just scribble those M's on there,
Mm-hmm.
because obviously the last leg didn't come all the way down to make it a complete quote unquote M. At what level does it have to be down on that last one to make it an M or not an M?
Well, you want
Same thing with the W's.
you want price to come down, break, but you want it to break, and you would like for it to retest. That's your highest confirmation that that M is broken, right? Just like
Gotcha.
W's, you can play the breakout of the W, or you can play the retest of the W, or you can
Retest,
play
right.
the lower high. I mean the higher low, right? So there's entries, right? You catch the fallen knife, you confirm it with the higher low, you add into the breakout, you add your final sort of piece into the confirmation,
Retest.
and then you're full in. You know, that's how I do it when I'm scaling into a higher low fractal. So it would be the same here. It'd be the same here, right? You would have swung at a short there. Maybe you added to your short when you put in the lower high. On the breakout, you might be tempted also to add to the short, but waiting for that confirmation of that break, right? Even if the EMA wasn't there, the bottom of your M is right here. Right, so for that to break and confirm, you're already breaking the 50 EMA. Same thing here with this M. Whatever the first one. So here's a good example. This M comes down, breaks, right?
Right.
But didn't confirm.
Really? Yeah.
And didn't break the 50. Right, and then just ended up scaling up again and again and again.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Hey, Dbloc, quick question. Could you draw the market maker pattern on this rise up right here with the
From the
W
from the
right where
bottom,
the
yeah.
M? No, well, I was just doing this leg right here, but yeah, this it was a bit more macro side, right? I was looking more short term.
Yeah, I mean, on your pivots, you want to count your market maker patterns from your pivots. Right, so if you
Gotcha,
had,
always from the pivots.
yeah, so if you had your W, then you would have your rise 1, right, rise 2, and then your rise 3, and you'd be looking for an M pattern at some point here. Or you'd be looking for a consolidation, then that leads to a new level of rises.
Right, because we're also looking for that midweek reversal, and
Yep.
so we still have some time for that higher for
Yep.
the weekly high.
Yep.
Cool, cool. Thank you.
This kind of does look it reminds me a bit of the 9th into the 10th. That kind of look in terms of where we are with market maker balance, the fact that we just had this nice pump, it's kind of dissolving a bit. So yeah, I'm kind of curious to see how this plays out. I was wondering if you could take a look at Pepe.
Yeah, I'll take a look, but all the alts are sitting in the same boat right now for the most part. Trying to lock in the right side of their higher low fractals. Right, mostly everything that you're looking at is put in that V shape has come down for the right side of the W, has either cleared vectors or held support. And your bet now is that that holds and becomes the bottom of this, larger fractal that'll end up taking us out. Like 90% of the buys that I made were right in this zone, tight stops right underneath. And then you got your lower low coins, right? These are the ones that got hit hard. These are the ones that failed to put in their higher lows and took one more trip down, right? That's your next level of sort of danger, is these coins. Not a bad recovery for Prime here, though. But yeah, most of them are going to be looking just like Pepe. Higher lows, cleared fractals, cleared vectors, stopping volume candles, waiting to see if they hold. Right? Tight stops underneath. Rajesh, the first thing I would do to check my bias to make sure I didn't have a specific bias is to flip the chart. Invert the chart. If this looks like a W to you, but you flip the chart and this doesn't look like an M to you, then you have a bullish bias. Right? In other words, if this looks bullish to you, if you're looking at Bitcoin right now and you're like, wow, this is super bullish, then when you flip the scale, you need to feel like this is super bearish. Right? If you look at this as super bullish, and then you come over here and you look at this and you say, oh, it looks like we're finding a bottom, you need to check your bias. To me, this looks like it could top out here. It's starting to put in a lower high fractal that could bring it down if it passes the 50 EMA. When I flip the chart, I see a drop that could be finding bottom, putting in a higher low fractal that could break out if it passes this 50 EMA. Right? My bias is completely in check no matter how I look at it. But sometimes I'll flip the chart and I'll see something different, and then I'll be like, oh shit, okay. You're drinking the Kool-Aid. You know what I mean? Yeah, I know, Darren. I'm just talking structurally. But really, it's just however you're analyzing. I mean, if you look at this liquidity and you say, yeah, they definitely have to come down and grab this liquidity, and then you flip it like this and you say, nah, they're going to come for this bottom liquidity. They'll leave that for later. You got to check your bias. Charlie Munger said, invert,
right, 50.
always invert. One of his famous quotes.
Right, 50-50 call right now. Are they going to go get liquidation low or high, huh?
To me, it feels like
Kinda
there's
right
way
both
more
ways.
money down here. There's way more money. And while we've had the strength to hold this 50, we haven't really had enough strength to push away from it. So eventually, you're going to get buyer
Gonna fall.
exhaustion. Yeah.
Mhm. Gonna poop out.
Crypto, I hope you took a little bit of profit, bro. Whenever I hear somebody say, I'm rich, I feel obligated to tell them to pull a little bit of profit. The man said, Dbloc, I love you. I'm rich. Like, uh-oh. Sounds like you need to peel some off the table. No, I'm glad it's working out for you, though, Crypto. Yeah, so like if we turn on our volume, you can see that since our move up, we've been volume divergent. Right? Price is moving up, volume is dropping.
I mean, if it goes down, all are gonna give up most of what they made yesterday.
Depends on what Dom does. If Dom comes down with it, it won't be so bad. If Dom decides it wants to go to 66 while Bitcoin's coming down to 104, alts are going to get crushed. And that uncertainty, right? That inability to judge that. There's no way to know whether Dom is going to go up or down while Bitcoin goes. There just isn't. I don't care what TA in the world you want to do. You can draw some patterns. You can see what the possibilities are. But there's too many variables. So if that's the case, and I know that a simple $3,000 drop could crush my alts just because Dom is so high, then it's not within my risk metrics yet to hold those specific alts. So there's some clarity. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't care where Bitcoin dominance is. If the alts that I'm looking at start to look good against their Bitcoin pairs, then I'm going to degen in. But it has to be one of the two, right? It can't be, dominance can't be at 66% and my coin looks like shit on its Bitcoin pair. Like that can't work. You know, it's at some point it's a numbers game. Well, I can tell you, I don't know what anybody else is saying, but I could tell you what's on the chart. And above us, we have massive sell walls stacked all the way to 110. Right? Let's see anything over 300 Bitcoin, which actually should be lower than that. But at 108.3, we've got 364, another 430 at 108, 549 at 108.9, another 400 at 109, almost 300 at 109.6, and then our psychological wall, 383, 395. There's plenty of Bitcoin there, right, to hold the price from going through those levels. Now the question is there enough liquidity, right? Are there enough shorts that those shorts covering would take care of these buy walls, these sell walls, sorry. That we got to go look at, excuse the flashbang for a second. For that we got to go to the liquidations. Not a lot of heat above us here, guys. Right? Remember those sell walls are between price and 110. Which means you would have wanted to see this bright, super bright. That way when you clip those liquidations, it takes you through your buy walls, but we're not seeing, I mean those sell walls, but we're not seeing that. Got a little bit lower time frame at 108, 14 mil, 13 mil. Right, so let's call it 30 mil just to be even. When you look at these buy walls, I mean 30 mil ain't shit. They can absorb 30 mil. The sell walls, I mean they can absorb 30 mil. Which means it's going to take more than just liquidations. It's going to take outside money, FOMO coming in for this to actually get up top. There's way more than 1,500 now. We just counted it all. Probably like 3,500 Bitcoin supply between here and 110. I say we send it and make them prove it. Because I have a feeling a lot of these orders are protecting shorts. Which means if price starts moving in that direction, you could see them start to spoof. These guys all popped in at the same time, right? So you have to assume this is one player. This is one player's sell wall protecting liquidation, probably somewhere in this range. Less predicting, more reacting. All right, poll up, guys. Let's get a quick sentiment check here. All right, sentiment check, guys. What comes next? Midweek reversal, midweek rocket ship, or World War III?
Oh, that's the time for World War III, I think. So
I know how Twitter feels. I'm just trying to check to see how the chat is feeling. Still a lot of those World War III fears lingering on Discord.
I think midweek rocket ship as World War III at least term has been averted.
Yeah, Ruben. If you look at what we've done through this entire sort of move up, right? Check this out. So that move up and the consolidation, right? Like they did it here. They took all of the sell side liquidity on the way up, right? There was no shorts left up here. As they consolidated, the shorts sort of piled up. When the shorts piled up, they ripped a little bit of shorts that piled up and they did it again, right? They consolidated, shorts piled up, and then they ripped them again. Consolidated, shorts piled up above, and then they took them again. Right? Now we're doing the same thing. Came up, grabbed all the shorts, consolidating. Shorts are starting to pile up above. And if we don't break this 50, right, if the bears don't make an attempt to push price, then we're just going to sweep them again and get our final measured move here. Been market makers slowly farming shorts. Right? They're like farming short liquidity. While at the whole time building up all the gas they need for a proper retracement. Market makers been eating well for the past 2 days and will continue to do so probably for the rest of the week. I used to, I used to think like that too, Icicle. But I like to think that our chat is maybe a little bit more educated than a regular, you know, if you really want to do a real poll, you got to have like 100,000 on Twitter and then do it on Twitter. You know what I mean? Like do it where all the normies, people are different. You do a Twitter poll right now and it probably comes out that the bull market is over. That seems to be the overwhelming sentiment, which gives me comfort at night. Nah, it's obscene, yo. I mean, you don't really, you can't really tell unless you're watching it in real time because the dead bodies are turned off. But if we turn the dead bodies on here, you see the carnage on the way up. Moment of silence. Yeah. You start to see who's flying sort of too close to the sun, right? Like whenever you're in a range, right, market maker starts to range out. You see this in weekend traps. You sort of see this all over the place, right? You'll be in a range, and then you'll see the responsible bulls and bears. Their liquidations will be up here, right? The degens, these two groups, these are the guys that chase price, right? These are the guys that can sort of even change the direction of price, right? If one of these two groups gets too heavy, price will come down and get it. These guys right here are in the wicks, which is a dangerous place to be. These guys down here are underneath the 50, right? Way safer. 50's sort of been a safety net for anybody who wanted to short. As long as your liquidation was under the 50, you're probably good money. But this guy here, the guy his liquidation jumped up above the 50 EMA. If these were to start sort of increasing, then price will just come down and get them. Right? Because it's harder to break a high than it is to mean revert. It's always easy for market maker to mean revert to the 50 if he has to. So your liquidation should never be between current price and the 50 on the time frame that you're trading. Just not, it's just my personal rule of thumb. Draws too much attention. I always say, like, you know, when you used to play tag with your friends and then you decided, or hide and seek or whatever, kill the man with the ball. And you decided instead of running away, you were going to run behind the person that was it. Keep them in your sight, but don't get too close. So if he turned around, you know you're a little faster. You could always get away from him. But then you would get a little bit too close and get clipped. That's how it is with these liquidations.
You just reminded me of Manhunt.
Manhunt was
I
the
used to
shit.
shit back in the day. Yeah.
Neve, my measured moves come off of patterns, bro. Right. Measured move comes off of a measurement made off of a retail pattern. And then depending on what's in between the what's in between the measured move and price is where I set my TP. Right? Is there resistances there? Are there large orders? Is there enough gas to get me all the way up to that measured move? They're probably gonna fall short. Yeah, they're not, it's not arbitrary at all. Like this W pattern playing out and getting to 107, right? Having that 107 measured move wasn't arbitrary, right? Like that measured move comes from the measurement of that W. And the amount of liquidations that were between here and there what gave me confidence that there'd be enough gas to get there.
cold calculated robot.
Boop boop beep boop.
How's it going, man? Just got home.
Good, good. Watching her play out.
I'm feeling like 110 might be where the gas tank gets emptied.
Oh, there is people sitting there with the empty tanks waiting to fill up. Yeah, we see them on the books. 110 is a big psychological though too. Big round flat number. Remember when you guys first started trading and you set your take profits and you set your stop losses or whatever? Chances are, or even your entries, chances are you did them at whole and half numbers without even noticing. Oh,
Yep.
we're at 738.
Round,
I'm gonna take
round even numbers.
yeah, I'm gonna take profit at 8. You know, I'm gonna take profit at 850. And it's human nature. Your mind's gonna look for that sort of balance. That's why whole and half numbers are so strong. That's why when you go on the order book, so now you'll see that they're set at whole and half numbers. 384 Bitcoin at 109. $432 Bitcoin at 108.
He staggered them.
Yeah. Just every 150, right? Every whole and half. Either by 100 or by 50, either by 1,000 or by 500.
Just going down the line, clicking the 20% button.
There's people right now that are looking at their stop loss at a whole number and they're like, uh-oh. I think I did it.
Their stop loss is my entry.
I'll be right back, y'all. I'm back. I'm back. Hi, Key. Appreciate the support, brother. Give me a second, guys. I'm just putting some stuff away. I got delivery in.
You're welcome, D. Thank you, brother.
Yeah, man. Like they're going
No,
after those little shorts that they built up again. They can't resist it, huh? Market makers hungry today.
Market maker said, "Come on, man, let me hold $1."
Just taking the path of least resistance. Like, okay, if we can't get underneath the 50, we're gonna take every single liquidation that pops up above it.
Don't
Or
look at
Let me
dominance.
come back.
we'll wait for Dbloc to walk away from the screens and then dump.
Yeah, I'm actually about to right now. I gotta finish putting this stuff away. I'll be right back.
Yo, did you see that candle on dominance? That was the weirdest glitch.
Yeah, every now and then it'll flash.